mother of two current SIU students, and I was faculty member in the School of Medicine until I retired to go into Peace Corps. And that's enough.
Joanne Smith, retired from microbiology.
Joe Pritchard, and I came to SIU because my big sister came, who was 10 years older than I was, and I didn't even ask any questions. I was from Central Illinois. They had hills here. It was wonderful. I loved it. So SIU graduate.
Michelle Snyder. I have 2 degrees from SIU. My husband graduated from SIU. My daughter's the current excited that you could join us. And I also work for SIU.
I first got acquainted with SIU through my wife, Dr. Barbara Cordona. She was the founding director of the Achieve program, first program of its kind in a university setting in the country when Dr. Samet was president. I worked at the print shop, SIU print shop. I pop in every once in a while, and I got to meet this gentleman a couple times, and it's great to have you again.
Thank you guys so much. It is so, it's better to hear from you and who you are. I think back 5 years ago, which is pretty amazing because those 5 years, I don't know about you, did that go fast? I feel very fast. It's like I just got here maybe 2 years ago. It's hard to believe 5 years ago when I arrived, think about what we were dealing with COVID and classes going fully online. And I remember coming in, and that's why it's so important to find out who you are, because you have all the history. And I think about folks like Joe and Glenn Pritchard and their history with the university, and any person that's coming in to lead an organization or university like this, if you don't know the history, you really make a lot of mistakes, right? You really do some things that really go against the traditions of the university or the stakeholders of the university. So I was so excited. Usually I'm a face-to-face person, but I was so excited. I thought, well, we've got to do some Zoom meeting or some way that I can connect with the masses. And so, again, I know this particular group, AAUW, you guys were very gracious in speaking with me and talking with me. And if you think about those meetings, they were pretty tough in some of those meetings. We talked about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And at that time, I don't know if you remember this, but we had just lost about 6,000 students from 2015 to 2020. You guys remember that? People were throwing dirt on us, right? And they said, oh, this university's going to shut down. And it's so good to hear about folks who've been here for years, because you've seen it all, haven't you? Somebody said they were here in the 60s. Show of hands, right? That's nothing, right? 50s, when we go back to 50s, look at that. You've seen a number of folks come in, even in my role, come in and go out, right? Oh, here he is. Oh, now he's gone. There she is. There she is. Okay, so I thought, you know what, my mother, and those of you that know me or you get to know me know that my strength comes from my mother, Betty Jo Lane from Wichita, Kansas. Any Kansas folks in here? One right here. Wichita, Kansas. And my grandmother, Mattie Jo Powell. My mother was my mother. My grandmother was my father. They raised me. So when I arrived, taking their advice, said, listen, you learn a lot if you listen. That's why God gave us 2 ears, 1 mouth, right? And I apologize. And those kids are not helping, because it reminds me when my mother would drop me off at the library. So when I arrived, I wanted to listen, and I wanted to hear about the experiences that people had experienced at this institution to really help me navigate my leadership. And if you remember, I said good, bad, and ugly. I think a lot of people thought there is no way in the world that we're going to be able to turn this ship around with enrollment. There was a lot of negativity. I received a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, a lot of anonymous folks that would really say some hard things about this institution and what we ought to do in terms of shutting down or just packing it up. And I remember riding my bike around Thompson Point, and I was living in the homeless suites. You guys ever been to homeless suites? Right over here. I was living there for about 6 months. PK's, the bar over there, wore me out. You ever been over there? Oh my God, it was COVID too. So it was all the, they were putting people outside. What is that? The little alley? The alley was outside, so it was packed. And I would have to wear my noise cancel earphones to go to sleep at night. But I remember riding my bike out at Thompson Point, and John Lennon came on my Pandora, Imagine. You remember that song? Oh yeah, everybody remembers that song. It was 1971. Does that sound about right? So the Imagine song came on, and after taking all of that qualitative data from what I heard, good, the bad, and the ugly, I thought, you know what, if we're going to build this institutional pride back up and get folks proud to be excited to be here and think about those times when things were really going great and how we can get back to that, then we've got to imagine. When you're imagining, you're dreaming. Have you ever imagined and been negative? Never, right? When you're imagining, you're usually dreaming about things that are positive, things that can actually happen and take place. So we titled our strategic plan, Imagine SIUC in 2030. And that's what you heard mentioned earlier today. And everything that we heard and the times that we listened, we heard about 5 key areas that kept coming up. One was student success and engagement. Number 1, how do we keep our students here at home? First thing I heard was all the students are leaving and they're going to other universities. You don't have a chance at getting those students. Jennifer, you remember that? You'd interview me all the time about that. So they're leaving. They're going to other schools, going south. They're going north. How are you going to keep them at home? We started to build relationships with our principals, our superintendents, our counselors, our community members. Believe it or not, our community college presidents. Believe it or not, we met with more alums. This is going to hurt. We met with more alums in this region that wouldn't even take a meeting with me and others because they were that upset that we turned our backs on them over those few periods of time. They were that upset. We had to apologize going in, right? But our commitment was that we're going to be right here every day. Whether you invite us in here or not, we're going to recruit, and not red carpet the region, we're going to maroon carpet the region, right? We're going to make sure that students know they don't have to go anywhere. That was the goal. Today, now we have breakfast with our superintendents and principals and counselors. They're emailing, texting us. We're up 6.1% for students in this region. That's gone up every year. So the myth about students going south of us or north of us, that's out of here. And then we started to make sure that geographically we distance ourselves from those universities. Here's why. We're the only Research One university within 2 to 3 hours of another university. There are only 2 other public R1s in the state, University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, University of Illinois Chicago. public. That's it. And it's us. Think about that. If you go south, you have to go all the way down to the University of Memphis if you're going to find another R1. If you go east, you've got to go to Purdue, right? And you've got a couple other in Indiana. If you're going to go west for public, you have to go all the way out to the University of Missouri. Think about that. There's no other R1 university that you're going to find. But what's better than R1, believe it or not, for you researchers, don't throw anything at me. But what's better than R1 is that we're an opportunity university. That's a tag that they gave us. I love that. It gives me chills when I think about how in the world did they designate this university as an opportunity university, because that's exactly what we are. Think about the folks that have come through here and the opportunity that this university has provided. In my home state of Texas, and I said this the other day in Texas, Sherika, you were with me, so she can vouch for me on this. You're not going to get into Texas A&M, UT Austin, or any other R1s in that state with a 2.75. Not going to happen. Just, they're not going to take you. You're going to be at a community college, or it's not going to happen. When I arrived here and realized we had no SAT, no ACT, and that was before me. They made that switch before the pandemic. A lot of schools went to that after. Okay, we went to high school GPA was the predictor of success, and that is true. The predictor of success is 4 years in high school instead of 4 or 5 hours on a standardized test. We know that to be true. But to get into a Research One university at a 2.75 where you get the opportunity to shine is what's so unique, and there are only 20 other Research One opportunity universities in the country. That's it. There are 4,000 universities, 4,000 plus. Out of 4,000, there are only 187 R1s. So think about that. And if you chisel that down and get into the opportunity R1s, it's 21. We're included in that count. So we have a golden opportunity to sell the university as a first choice university in the region. Second area, academic innovation and research, which really cuts in exactly what I just talked about. We are not Murray State. We're not SEMO. Those are doctoral or master level institutions. There's a huge difference. And my faculty members in the audience know what I'm talking about. Huge difference in terms of the quality of our faculty and the research that they have done. Big difference. Just hearing the research or the areas that you come from and what you said you did is exactly why we're R1, right? We've got some heavy hitters that have come through that university for years and done amazing things. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is the difference from being in Texas. If we were in Texas, I wouldn't even be talking about this. It's already been eliminated. What I found to be so unique, first gentleman I met is my fraternity brother, Dr. Harold Bardo. Anybody know Dr. Bardo? Everybody knows Dr. Bardo. Wow. You guys said that a little too fast. I was like, yeah, we know Dr. Bardo. Well, Dr. Bardo, if you think about it, was here in 55. Now, I've gone to 2 institutions that didn't accept students of color until the late 60s, in some cases, early 70s. So you all know what I'm talking about when you say that SIU has been very diverse over the years. Very diverse. You think about our history in terms of the students that have come through. That's what makes us stronger. And that's what's so unique about this institution, which is why they tagged us with Opportunity University. We take students that come from rural backgrounds, urban backgrounds, lower socioeconomic backgrounds, single parent backgrounds, first generation backgrounds, you name it. We take those students and they can go from Carbondale, SIU to the world and compete. They've got grit. Our students, there's something about them when I see them on campus and I go, that's a Saluki, that's a dog. They're dogs. They know how to go out and hunt and go after it and go get it. That's important. Branding and marketing. I'm going to give you this because you asked for it. I got a few of these. This is a lot of our branding you'll see out there. I love our institution can brand in so many different ways because some people like the throwback, I and the S and the S and the I and the U, and we kind of play around with it. But our most recent branding is what we call our state takeover brand. And why do we do that? The state takeover brand, if you think of the Illinois I, God bless them, right? They can claim they've got Illinois, the state. They've got it. No one can claim Southern except us. That's our S. Eastern can't claim it. Western can't claim it. Right? Southern. That's who we are. Many of you probably remember referring to the university as Southern. Remember that? You didn't even say S, the I, you didn't say any of that. You say we're Southern. Right? And so a lot of that is a little bit of a throwback in terms of our branding. So all of the things that I would hear on the listening and learning tour, we wanted to make sure that that information was put into what we call kind of an accountability cycle, to your point. So we just didn't listen, we actually acted on those things. If you told us something, we worked really hard to try and change it or amend it or enhance it. We tried to do something and we continue to do that. So we have 5 years left in that plan. That's how fast that's gone. It was a 10-year plan when we kicked it off. 5 years remaining, and we have several goals and objectives that we want to accomplish. So that's going to be important these next few years that we get there and that we do that. And we'll do it together. We'll do it together. I want to share with you, though, some of the success that we're having in the space for our women that are here at Southern Illinois University. And this is what's important. When I arrived, I heard probably more from our female population than any other population. And the number one thing that I heard, and this will, good. The number one thing that I heard, let me mess this up here, hopefully you guys can see. The number one thing that I would hear all the time is that we need to do a better job in recruiting females in the Southern Illinois region, in the state of Illinois, and across the country. And that was our main priority. And pleased to report, as you know, the women outnumber the male students on campus, right? We're one of those universities, thank goodness, that is still the case. It's changing at some other institutions, but our female students still run the show when you think about enrollment. This year, we were very fortunate. If you look at our demographics, again, talk about the diversity at the university, but this fall, we had a 6% increase in our Black students, 19% increase in Hispanic students, a 23% increase online. Everybody wants to take classes online. That is going through the roof in terms of what students want. Our graduate students were up. Our law school student counts were up. Our out-of-state students from surrounding states were up. So you remember the budget impasse here when they all tried to recruit our students out of the state because we didn't have the budget, and they were successful at doing that, by the way. We've been able to turn that around in states like Missouri, Indiana, Kentucky. We've been able to pull those students away from those institutions. So that's been a strategy of ours, is to recruit our students locally in the state, keep them in state, and make sure that they don't go away. Our workforce, the women on our campus, 50% of SIU's workforce are women. That's a big percentage. That's a very good percentage, and we're going to continue to do better. But let me share with you the areas. 43% of that are executives or admin and management. So we have women that are in leadership positions on my cabinet, across the university, women in leadership positions. 45% of our faculty are female, 53%. things that she's jumping into. But as you can see the list, I don't know if any of these other names kind of ring a bell for you, or if you know any of these folks here, but we've got some folks who are doing some great things, or women that are doing some great things. Do you see a name there? Oh, there you go. You see that? Did y'all see her on there? Which one? That's right. We got our Cristado's Bakery here. Yeah, so we have quite a few. And this gives you an idea of some of our distinguished folks that are here. Any names look familiar? Yeah. See that? This one threw me for a loop because out of Houston, she's got a billboard. Joan Higginbotham. I don't know if you got, yeah. Well, you did, look at that. You know them. So again, a lot of successful folks that are there. Now, I have to highlight, and she doesn't like when I do this, but Sherika, you know I'm going to do this, okay? So Sherika came to us how many years ago? 3.5? Wow. So yeah, you have been here, yeah. That's a good thing. We're not saying it like, wow, you've been here that long. That's a good thing. So Sherika will tell you what this looked like 3.5 years ago, and I will tell you it was not what it was the other day. This event, anyone attend the event? Oh, good, several. Did you enjoy it before I start talking about it? Was it great? Good. This blew me away. I mean, just the participation, and not only from the leaders in this group, but also our students. Our female students were there. Our freshmen, sophomores, juniors, they attended this event and made connections that I think are going to help them tremendously as they continue in their careers. So really excited about that fourth annual Saluki Women's Weekend. And I know, Sherika, you and your team did a great job. You're probably already planning for next year, right? It never stops. Never stops. So again, table sponsor. So hand clap for the table sponsorship for AAUW. You were a table sponsor. Thank you so much for that. And I know Sherika thanks you as well, but just a great time there. Some of the folks who were recognized Women of the Year. Anyone look familiar up here? A few? Spears, okay. Lolita's all over the place, right? Yeah, just a great group. Who else? Tricinda? You know Tricinda? Yeah, okay. Good. So yeah, just great all the way around. Just more awards. This is more of a breakdown. See if some names look familiar to you. If you can see that. And Sherika, am I missing anything with our award winners? Anything you want to add?
No, thank you again for your support. So Chancellor Lane stated, just the power of bringing women together, recognizing women and amplifying the voices of women. So that is always the objective for the Women's Leadership Council and as well as the AAUW. Wow.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. Our Women's Resource Center, we've done a lot to really make sure that it's an area that is supportive in a number of different areas when we talk about academic, social, you name it. But we have a what I consider to be a great resource. And Bethany Peppers, you remember, Jennifer, you probably know Bethany as a student leader. Well, it has been impressive to watch her rise from a student all the way up to her current position now, and she is on fire. She does a fantastic job. You'll see her in a number of different areas. Comes out of the School of Education, for those, educational administration, has aspirations to be a vice president one day, or vice chancellor, but she is doing a great job in a number of different ways. Not only the programming, but just in her interactions that she has on campus with our female students. One thing before I get into this report, I wanted to save this for last. The biggest thing that we had to tackle on our campus was that of equity in regards to pay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So when I arrived, I would hear all the time from our female faculty and staff that I am not being paid appropriately, and especially as it relates to my male counterparts. And I heard that for about 2 years, about a year and a half, 2 years. And we wanted to do something about it. So we had some really, what I consider to be amateur surveys that went out, and they pretty much bombed. They didn't get to the heart of what we were trying to figure out. So we went out and hired a group called CBiz. If you hear CBiz, this is what this is if you read about it. CBiz is a company that comes in and works with universities that are dealing with salary compression or pay equity issues. So CBiz came in and they did what I consider to be a fantastic job in acknowledging, like we thought, that there were issues with pay, and they were correct. So the folks who've been telling us all these years, hey, I'm not being paid appropriately, or hey, I've been here 20 years, and someone who just arrived 2 weeks ago is making more than me. How did that happen? Okay, so when we got the study back, it didn't blow us away because we knew that there was going to be some issues with that. So really pleased to report that back in actually last month, when the board approved our CBiz compensation study, it allowed us to adjust the salaries of several folks on our campus. Right now, we have probably close to 450 that have been adjusted, and this is going to hurt a little bit. Some of our folks who were adjusted, particularly our female faculty or staff, were not even making the minimum amount that they should have been making. So think about just the minimum amount. That's how far behind they were in the institution. It's a miracle that they even hung around. Most people would take off if they were in that bad of a position and not receive any type of increases. So we're able to adjust them not only to the minimum, we had some that were so far off as upwards of 44% increases in their salary. Think about that. And we had, won't say any names, but we had someone who works close to where I am who came in tears and said, I can actually quit my second job. Just like that. So I can quit. That's how much she was adjusted. Okay, you think about that. That is big. We're going to continue to do that. Someone has a chip on my shoulder. I teared up when I talk about my mother. I remember my mother coming in. It's the same way. Said, guys, we don't make enough. Okay, don't ask for anything. If you get something, it's going to be for your sisters, right? Because we don't have enough to go around here. She was always fighting to try to make more money to take care of us. And we have employees that do that. So even though we took a bite out of this apple, we're going to still bite. That was phase one. We still have work to do to make sure that we don't get compressed like we were because of all these years of just no controls. We had folks, if you could talk really good and have a meeting with your manager, you got the bump. And 29 other people didn't. It's not fair. So now we have controls in place. We have ranges that have to be approved, offers that have to be approved. So when we give you an offer, we know what the other 29 are making. So we don't mess up the entire salary structure, right? And that's how we've solved and fixed that problem. But we got to keep watching that, right? We got to keep watching it. We'll probably do a study like this every 3 to 5 years. Every 3 to 5 years. So that is what I'm most proud of, is that we've been able to target now so we can retain our female population that I said earlier on the phrase, but we still have work to do. But I'm most proud about that piece and the work done with CBiz. If you have your phone, if you want to come up later after this event, you will find out how we hold ourselves accountable right here. Everything we said in those 5 pillars that I talked about in Imagine 2030, this is where we are accountable, me included, number one. So everything that people told me, everything that people said we needed to think about or change or fix or focus on, myself and the rest of our cabinet are accountable right here. We give you an update on how we're doing. So if you're bored and you want to read about how things are going within our top 5 pillars, it's a pretty extensive update in this guide if you take a look at it. If you want a hard copy, you can come to our office. I'll give you a hard copy. It's got a lot of colors in it. But the biggest piece that we're trying to get across in the 5 pillars is you can see the progress that we're making at the university. You'll see that progress. That's what we're focused on. That is what we're focused on. We are excited at our institution. We are focused. We're laser focused. We are competitive. So we are going all over the place. You're probably seeing some of these Saluki takeover tours, and they may sound really nice and glamorous, but we're there 4 or 5 days ahead of time working like crazy. I mean, our heels of our shoes are about gone because we are talking to everybody trying to recruit more Salukis to come to Carbondale. And that is exactly what we're out trying to accomplish. So on that note, I know I've probably gone a little over, or I think I'm right at my time, but I'd love to stop and entertain any questions or anything that you may have for me from what I talked about today. I'd love to answer any questions. Is that okay, Joe? Is that okay? Okay. And thank you. Yeah, thank you.
I know we answered one of them already, but the equity.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And I can talk more on that too if you want. Yeah.
Hi, Georgia De La Garza. I'm a co-founder of Women for Justice national program since 2014, and I'm also president of People's Tribune and Tribune del Pueblo, our sister newspaper down the border, and I'm a leader for Working Families Party here in Illinois. So my thumb is on the pulse of, in the moment where we're at. One of the things that we're concerned about nationally as women is that since this administration has taken over 200,000 women have lost their jobs. Are we considering this here at our university since they're attacking our academic institutions? Are we building any walls to protect our women?
That's a great question, and that is happening. Let me point you to last week. Anybody see the article in St. Louis with Washington University laying off 300 plus people? So in our enrollment management meeting today, we had an enrollment management retreat. All day today, we've been in this retreat. And we talked about, as a group, faculty, staff, that were in that meeting, how important it was to continue to increase our enrollment, which generates our tuition revenue. That's one bucket of money that we receive. The other is our state appropriations. That's what we get from the state. Those are the only 2 buckets of funding sources that the university has. One is out of your control with state appropriations, unless you're Dr. Glenn Pichard. Now, he could go down there and get any money he wanted. He was spoiled. He could just say, I need the money. He'd stop, he'd get the money. Well, I'm not Glenn Pichard. I can't reenact. We name drop him, but yeah, it's a little different. So we have to live with those 2 buckets. Our communication today to your question was that we are continuing to hire, but we're strategically hiring. It's a difference between supporting and giving your internal folks increases that deserve it, and then trying to bring in more people and put them on the payroll. One or the other's got to give, right? So we've decided, instead of furloughs or laying people off, that we would do more strategic hiring, so we wouldn't overload the payroll, which protects our employees from any type of layoffs or anything like that, right? And then focus the internal dollars that we have on retaining our workforce, right? Retaining, because we may lose some just because we're not competitive. It's not so much because, we've put any types of layoffs in place. It's just we've got to be competitive and not lose folks out. We have 22 represented unions. Do you guys know that? Yeah, that's a little different from Texas. We had 0 in Texas. So that will is a little different when I came here. I said, wow, there are that many unions. 22, we have agreements with all of our unions. We probably closed the most historic with our faculty association. So any faculty in here, historic deal that we closed, long overdue. Were you on that? Oh, God, you remember that work then. But so our faculty will receive increases from 2024 to 2028, upwards of 2%. And then there's some real wage adjustments in there for them as well, from assistant professor, associate professor, full professor. It's a great deal. We wanted to, at least when I came, I wanted that to be a clear message that we want to support our faculty. And that's what we're doing now. So our staff as well, but they were the first ones up with our collective bargaining. So no layoff discussions for us, but our enrollment has to keep going this way. The tuition revenue is critical for us. It is critical. So the day that stops, you know, there's other discussions and decisions that we have to make in terms of what we do. But right now we're in a good place. That's a great question. Yeah, I saw another hand pop up over. Was it here? Yeah.
Thank you. First, I want to commend you for what you have done to select women, competent, capable women in decision-making positions. We're grateful for that. Recently, our national organization has brought to our attention that the pay gap has gone down in 23, and they're getting the 24 figures again. So there is the Equity Gap Act that is being considered in Congress, and we're going to be very active on that to talk to reach out to our senators and our representatives to support the Pay Equity Act. So I'm hoping that with what you explained, obviously you're on top of that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's a big piece for us. Any other? I see Joe standing up. That means my time is running out. So I'll be glad to stay after the program. Again, thank you so much for all that you do or have done for the university, and go Dogs. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We could ask you so many questions, and maybe you can come back another time for us, right? We'd love to. But we appreciate all the focus on women that you gave us tonight and the enlightening information. And we can't wait to see what happens, you know, in the next 5 years. So, and I would like to say the AAUW, as you saw tonight, is just filled with really talented people who have a strong connection and investment with SIU. So we would like to offer our services to you for anything at all that we can do. Will you keep that in mind? Okay, we're serious. Thank you. Our meeting in November will be November 18th, and that's our annual soup and salad luncheon. And it will be at 11 o'clock in the Northwest Annex. And we are having Captain, I'm going to take a shot, Chigulo, SIU, speak to us. She'll be doing the program about the experiences of women in the military. So we hope the Chancellor might be able to run over. We have fabulous cooks in here, and it's all homemade. So, and our guests and members, we hope you will all come. Now, the social committee has prepared some refreshments, and we're going to try to be respectful of the library's closing time at 8. So if you want to get your refreshments, and we would like a photo of Chancellor Lane, and there were a couple people who said they'd love to be in it. So if you want to come up here right now, Sarah Faye, bring your camera. And the rest of you, thank you for coming, and please get some refreshments, and we'll see you next month. Thank you.
Runs a tight ship.